So I want to give a shout out to Brando from the Appetite for Distortion podcast who told me about the story. I was going through Instagram yesterday and I saw a story he posted saying that the kid on the cover of the Guns N' Roses Use Your Illusion albums was suing the band over the use of his image on the album. I was like, what? This doesn't make any sense. It turned out the baby who appeared on Nirvana's Nevermind album is now suing the band. It turned out Brando was just making fun of the whole thing, saying this is going to lead to other lawsuits. Spencer Elden, who appears as the baby on the cover of Nirvana's 1991 album Nevermind, is now 30 years old, but he was 4 months old when he appeared on the record's cover. As part of Elden's lawsuit, the paperwork would state defendants intentionally, commercially marketed Spencer's pornography and leveraged the shocking nature of his image to promote themselves and their music at his expense. Elden is seeking $150,000 in damages from each of the defendants, including surviving Nirvana members Dave Grohl and Krist Novoselic, and photographer Kirk Weddle, the record label, and Courtney Love, the executor of Kurt Cobain's estate. The photographer who's named in the lawsuit, Kirk Weddle, was actually a personal friend of Elden's father. Elden's lawyer says the image of the dollar bill on the front cover makes the baby resemble, and I quote, a sex worker. The lawsuit also claimed that Elden's parents never signed a release allowing his image to be used, and that his parents were only compensated $200 for the photo to be taken. The court filing would also state that Geffen Records, Nirvana's label, claimed that a sticker was going to be used to cover Elden's private area on the album cover. Elden would claim the whole experience gave him, and I quote, extreme and permanent emotional distress. It remains to be seen whether the lawsuit will be successful or not, but how did Elden end up on the cover? Well, the whole story starts with Geffen Records art director Robert Fisher, who was a huge fan of Nirvana even before Nevermind came out, and convinced the record label to let him work on the project. Fisher would end up meeting with Kurt Cobain, who expressed a concept he had for the front cover, with Fisher remembering to milanote.com. Kurt wanted a baby being born underwater. Back then, before the internet, you would have to go down to the local bookstore and go through childbirthing books and trying to find photos, so that's what I did. But it was just like, there's no way we can make an album cover out of this. I couldn't find any really good pictures, and they were all way too graphic to use. So they needed an actual baby to shoot. It would be frontman Kurt Cobain's idea to include a fish hook on the album cover to make it more menacing. And there was a lot of discussion over what to include on the end of the fish hook. One idea was a CD to represent music, another was a burrito, while somebody else suggested a dog. With the concept now established, Geffen Records just needed a photographer to shoot the cover. Fisher would recall in the same interview, they used to have these things called workbooks, big thick catalogs where photographers would buy a page or two, and they'd send them out to creatives to try and get work. And this one guy in there, one of his taglines was that he specialized in submerged humans. I thought, that's our guy. That was Kirk Weddle, he'd say. Upon being hired, Weddle had originally tried to go to an infant swim class to shoot the cover, but the results weren't good. Weddle happened to know Spencer's dad, who assisted with photo shoot. Spencer's dad would call to NPR. He called us up and was like, hey Rick, want to make $200 and throw your kid in the drink? I was like, what's up? And he's like, well, I'm shooting kids all this week. Why don't you meet me at the Rose Bowl, throw your kid in the drink? And we just had a big party at the pool, and no one had any idea what was going on, he'd remember. Several months after the photo shoot, Spencer's father was driving along Sunset Boulevard when he spotted a 9-foot by 9-foot picture of his son on the wall of Tower Records. While the family wouldn't earn a penny more from the photo, Geffen Records would send them a platinum record of Nevermind several months later, along with a teddy bear, to coincide with Spencer's first birthday. NPR would catch up with Spencer when he was a senior in high school, and he talked about possibly going to West Point, and that his friends sometimes joked with him about the cover, saying, my friend is all like, hey, I saw you today, and I'm like, dude, I was working all day, and he's like, no, I went to Geffen Records, and you're on the floor, and you're floating, and I stepped on your face, because I guess they have like a floating thing where people can like walk on me and stuff, so it's kind of cool, he'd say. Years later, Spencer would be interviewed by Time magazine, revealing his feeling about the album cover, saying, looking back, it feels kind of stupid doing interviews about it because I had nothing to do with it. It's a really weird feeling being part of someone else's momentum, being caught up in this wake of stuff. Interestingly enough, he would reveal in the same interview he had looked into taking legal action against the record label, but nothing came of it at the time, saying, it's hard not to get upset when you hear about how much money was involved. While he would harbor some resentment, Spencer revealed he thought the concept for the artwork was, and I quote, genius, but wasn't a fan of seeing his face appearing on merchandise like coffee mugs. Despite repeated requests, Spencer would never end up meeting any of the surviving members of Nirvana. In 2016, Spencer was residing in Los Angeles, still living with his mother and selling his art online, as well as growing tomatoes. Spencer has previously recreated the cover as an older child and adult to mark Nevermind's 10th, 20th, and 25th anniversaries.
You're on the album cover, but did you like the album at all? Were there certain songs you liked or didn't like?
Definitely, I like Nirvana a lot, and there's no songs I don't like. That they all have a special place for people, you know. And I really like the album, and I definitely really like to listen to it when no one's around. I would say I wouldn't bring it, like turn it on with like all my friends watching, because that's kind of, it makes it kind of weird and awkward. But I really like the album.
So do you get royalties? You are on the cover, and it's one of the best-selling albums ever.
No, I don't get any royalties. There was no model release sign, so it's kind of a interesting cover, because, you know, I feel like it kind of portrays the situation kind of well.
That does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again on Rock and Roll True Stories. Take care.